Live from our studios here in Adabraka, you're watching Joy News Today with me, Sweetie Abochi. In our headlines this afternoon, Ghana Meteorological Agency assures of impending rains up north to mitigate drought in the area, even as experts say or ask for proper irrigation dams there. Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom discloses to Joy News that Trafigura GPGC controls Regina House. Stakeholders fight proposed Ghana Shippers Authority Act 2024. Details coming up shortly, including business, world news and entertainment. Please stay with us. Many thanks for your company. In our first story, the Ghana Meteorological Agency is optimistic of impending rains up north to mitigate the drought in the area. This assurance follows complaints by farmers up north that lack of rainfall is leading to dwindling harvest. We'll hear from them in a bit, but first let's speak to Rafik Salam, who's been interacting with some farmers up in the north in upper west region. Hello Rafik Salam. How's this affecting food prices in the area? Okay, we are still trying to connect with Rafik, and when we do, we'll bring you that conversation. And we can now hear from Joshua Asamoah, a senior meteorologist with the GMet, and he spoke earlier on News Desk.
We cannot say emphatically that this is because of climate change, climate variability farming, because dry spells have actually been with us for some time now, and that's not the worst case that we've seen in the country. We have actually been seeing these conditions happening. And like you heard in the report, this is something that was predicted earlier, especially for places within the northern region, the savannah region, transition zones. We're expecting long dry spells within these areas and below normal to normal rainfall for the season. So it's not something that actually came as a surprise. We have started seeing some cases of rainfall within the northern sector in the last 2 days. Quite substantial amounts of rains were experienced in the northern region and parts of the savannah region as well. The upper east and upper west regions are already experiencing rains, and we anticipate that all things being equal, then coming weeks will be getting widespread cases of rainfall within the northern sector.
Meanwhile, a former General Secretary of the Ghana Agri Workers Union, Edward Kariwa, is asking government to revisit the plan to provide all year-round irrigation outlets to ease the plight of farmers. He's also been speaking on Joy News Desk.
The question about whether this drought will continue, the answer is no. It will not continue. The rains have started coming. And given the period that we are now, we are supposed to have heavy rainfalls. Now, what we are not certain is this. If we get heavy rainfall, which will also go further to destroy the crops that are left, then we will now be experiencing a double jeopardy, for the farmers. Here is the case, drought has come to destroy your farms. The few farms that have survived the drought or crops that have survived the drought, then the rainfall could come in such a way that it can cause flooding and wash away some of those crops again. But as a country moving forward and seeking to grow our agriculture, we cannot solely depend on rain-fed agriculture. Because there's some part of the year the rains will not come at all. Yet we think that we must have agriculture. We must crop. So we started building irrigation. So there's no better solution than to have more water, or increase our irrigation agriculture to mitigate things like this. Look, you can imagine what would have been the situation today if the Kokoaba multipurpose dam had been in operation. It would have gone a long way to mitigate the situation.
Let's go back to Rafiq Salam on phone right now, giving us updates on the drought situation. Rafiq, how is this affecting food prices in the area? If you can hear me, please unmute Rafiq Salam. All right, away from that, Joy News, we'll bring you that conversation later, but Joy News can confirm that oil conglomerate Trafigura Ghana Power Generation Company has taken over one of the country's most important commercial properties, the Regina House in London. Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Papa Owusu-Ankobah, in an exclusive interview with Joy News this morning, disclosed that until the bills are settled, Trafigura GPGC will be in full control over the revenue made from the property. He's therefore calling for more options to avert the implications of this compounding interest.
That is not entirely true. I mean, I'm surprised that he says I give the impression that none of Ghana's properties were under threat. What I said was that an application for receivership had been made in respect of some properties belonging to Ghana, and that of the properties, the subject matter of the charge, only one, Regina House, is used for commercial purposes. The others can be described as diplomatic properties. So these properties are not under threat. But even with the one which is the subject matter of the receivership, that is Regina House, negotiations, I know negotiations are ongoing between Ghana and the judgment creditors, GCPDC, to pay. That's all. But as of now, Regina House is the property of the government of Ghana, the president of Ghana.
That's on paper.
It is under receivership.
And that's on paper. That's also what he's alleging. He says so far the rent being taken for Regina House doesn't go to Ghana, but goes to Trafigura. Can you confirm if this is true?
Yes,
is this true?
Because Regina House is under receivership. But Regina House is still owned by the government of Ghana.
But we are not receiving any monies as a result of the renting of that property.
Of course, yes, because of the judgment debt, but the rents that are being paid are nowhere near the amount owed.
But what do you propose we do now?
We negotiate. That's all you can do. You negotiate. If we don't have the means to pay, we don't have the means to pay all at one time. So we should negotiate and pay.
For 4 years, Trafigura has been unsuccessful in getting governments to pay up a $134 million judgment debt awarded to the energy firm after the early termination of a power purchase agreement. And this situation forced Trafigura to secure another judgment in the United States court, which awarded a mandatory interest on a default of $111.4 million, which remains the arrears to be paid by the Republic of Ghana. Attorney General Godfrey Adame tells Joy News it is up to the Finance Ministry to expedite actions on the payment.
After the entry of the arbitral award, which is final, the only obligation left is for the state, which is the judgment debtor, to pay. So it is the failure of the government of Ghana to pay this judgment debt entered in January 2021, which has led to repeated applications in various courts by GPGC. You remember that about some few months ago, our High Commissioner to England, Papa Owusu-Ankobah, was actually on radio, on your network, lamenting the seizure of some assets and all that. And that was settled in such a way that the assets were released from attachment. The government of Ghana subsequently paid some amount of money, but it was not in full settlement of the judgment debt. So the judgment debt is still outstanding. So the explanation for the failure to pay now does not lie with the attorney general. It lies with the Minister of Finance. It is actually a matter between Minister of Finance and Minister of Energy. And as far as I'm concerned, any role to play by the Attorney General did not happen in my time or tenure as Attorney General. So really, the only obligation left is to pay. It's for the Minister of Finance and Minister of Energy to negotiate means of paying the judgment debt. And it's the same thing. It is not a new judgment debt for people to now scheme as if, with all respect, I had defaulted on any duty at all. In my tenure as Attorney General, there has not been a single judgment debt.
Northern Regional Chairman of the Opposition National Democratic Congress, Adov, has accused the governing New Patriotic Party of launching projects without securing proper funding. He specifically criticized Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for frequently initiating projects without completing them. During his visit to the Lamegshegu Exhibition Center as part of his tour of the voter exhibition centers, Mr. Ali asked Ghanaians to trust Mahama to deliver on his promises.
The NDC regional chairman visited the Tolong, Saviligu and Kumbungu constituency. He also visited some centers in the Tamale metropolis to assess how the exhibition exercise was taking place and to appeal to his party members to ensure they check for their names. At the Lamegshegu Primary Exhibition Center, the Northern Regional Chairman, Adov Ali, said whilst Ghanaians can trust former President John Dramani Mahama to deliver on his promises, similar cannot be said about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He said Ghanaians know what Mr. Mahama is capable of doing, adding that one can never tag the former president as a liar.
I didn't know that the suffering was even going to get to this extent. It's terrible. If 1 cedi to almost 4 cedis, if $1 to almost 4 cedis was incompetence by the then government. So now that it is $1 to almost 16 cedis, $1 to almost 16 cedis, how will you call such a government? The most useless government I have ever seen. Very, very useless. This is the first time the dollar has risen that far ever since independence. Unless somebody can prove me wrong. He's not ashamed. And so he has now run away from defending the economy. He has become an ITC specialist in charge of digitalization. That is Bawumia for you. And such a person, he still has the moral courage. If not because he thinks that the longer they are there, the more they will be covering their corrupt activities. Such a person has no moral justification to come out to contest even parliamentary election, let alone president. That is why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said, this type of person, he shouldn't go and sit down and waste his time to debate him.
He said the NDC is taking back all the seats it lost in the previous election.
Northern region, we are very, 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 very ready. We are taking back every seat in the region. We are targeting every seat in the region. The least we are going to win in this region is 14.
Let's discuss this. Let's speak to the Communications Director of the New Patriotic Party in the Northern Region, Yousef Danjuma. Mr. Yousef, many thanks for your time. Now, the Northern Regional NDC Chair is criticizing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for unfinished projects. How do you respond to this?
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers and listeners as well. The man spoke out of ignorance. It is very conspicuous for any careful observer to know that the NDC regional chairman was speaking out of ignorance. He's very ignorant about what is happening under this government. And if it is anybody who should be prevented from contesting elections in this country, it should be no less a person than former President John Dramani Mahama. I have challenged the NDC to mention one single road network that John Mahama started and completed in the whole 8 years that the NDC was in power. One road network that they have started and completed.
Mr. Danjuma.
It doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah, Mr.
You
Danjuma.
understand? And look, if you look at what has been happening under this government in this region.
Mr. Danjuma, in the same vein, I'm asking you then to give us at least 3 projects that this government started and completed in your region.
Thank you very much. The vice president under the leadership of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia Tamale, the northern regional capital, is having a $34 million 1.1 kilometer interchange, unprecedented in the history of northern region since independence in 1957. Tamale, Yendi, Tatali, Zabuzugu Road, the longest road in northern region, 162 kilometers, is virtually complete, 90% complete.
Did you say
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia cut short for the construction of the project, and it is 90% complete.
Right.
It has never happened in the history of northern region.
And the last one?
The last one is the second phase of the Tamale International Airport. The NDC visited this region. They came and launched their national campaign. They passed through the Tamale International Airport, $74 million project. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia came and commissioned it. You understand? Let me give you more. Today, it takes no less than 20 minutes to drive from Karga to Bushegu under the leadership of no less a person than His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I can go on and on and on. Northern region is a beneficiary of 7 Agenda 111 projects. None of this project is about 60 or 70%. Almost all of them is about 80 or 90% complete.
Right.
So what is the NDC regional chairman talking about?
Thank you so much. But you did mention that they are at a certain percentage complete and not fully complete. Maybe that's the argument that the regional chairman of the NDC is making?
Yes, it goes to buttress the point that I made earlier on, that if the NDC, under former President Mahama, when they were in power, started some and completed some of these road projects, he won't be talking about uncompleted projects. He's from Saboba. As we speak, the Tamale Wapuli Saboba Road is under construction.
And that's all time will allow us, Mr. Yousef Danjuma. Thank you so much. And he's the communications director of the New Patriotic Party in the Northern region. Thank you for your time. Moving on, Upper West Regional Minister Ambassador Stephen Yakubu says road construction equipment provided under the district's road improvement program is meant for community road projects, not for personal use by politicians. He emphasized that the equipment, which will be fueled by government, should be used only for projects that benefit the community. Ambassador Yakubu spoke while handing over the first batch of equipment to metropolitan and district assemblies in the Upper West region. And Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The 11 municipal and districts in the Upper West region have been allocated a total of a little over 100 units of the state-of-the-art road equipment. Upper West Regional Minister Ambassador Stephen Yakubu noted that the equipment has arrived at a critical time given the deteriorating state of roads in the region. The Upper West region has one of the worst roads in the country that give nightmares to commuters or at worst killing or maiming them.
We still have a lot of problems with our roads, and you know, Upper West here is a basket, food basket of the country. So we need to make sure that every farm, every village, every hamlet, there is, you know, a way to get access roads to get there, and that is exactly what we want to do. What we have now, I've decided to integrate what we have and then distribute them to the assemblies. Whilst they are working, there's no time to waste at all. I'm not going to allow the machines to be sitting here. From today, immediately after here, we're going to put them to the assemblies and they will start work.
He reaffirmed that the program is genuinely driven by community needs and not by the fiat of any politician.
So the money is going to come from the central point so that we fuel them, pay the drivers, the operators, I will say, and then they will go on any route that the community wants constructed. Any road that the community wants. This is going to be a community-driven thing. It's not going to be that a politician sits here because his house is here. No. It's a community-driven thing.
Dean of Municipal and District Chief Executives, Isago Momin, on behalf of the group, expressed their appreciation to the President, stating that the equipment will greatly assist in improving the region's roads.
I think this is a game changer. It is something that has never happened before, and I'm sure that the benefits will drive the benefit from implementation.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Let's take a short break. We'll be back with more. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us. Let's continue the news now. Friendship knows no barrier, not even with disability. At the University of Ghana, Felicity Wedava Ajuri and Esther Boedu are proving just that. Despite the former's short stature and the latter's visual impairment, their bond is unbreakable, and together they navigate life with resilience and joy. Their inspiring story is a demonstration to the power of friendship and determination, showing all of us that disability is not a limitation, but a unique strength. Emmanuel Jivenu of Education Desk has more in this latest Join You series, This Abled.
My name is Felicity Ajuri Wedava. I'm a person living with disability called achondroplasia. I'm unique and special in all my ways and aspects.
Felicity moves her hands with dexterity as she applies a cold patch to her bicycle tire.
And my mom and dad always advise me to learn how to use those things to repair my bike.
A bicycle is a lifeline, not just for herself, but for her friend Esther Boedu, who is visually impaired.
When I came to the University of Ghana, I could see that mine was a little bit tough because some of them couldn't see. I thank God for my life, and then I was like, God, I didn't know that my problem was not as much as compared to others. I think I could help them because I can see.
When I came, I was always in my room. I was like, so how am I going to mingle with people? You know, stigmatization and stuff. When I met Felicity, I was like, wow. I've met, although she's also a person with disability, but she's helping me a lot.
So she was like, she's a visual impaired, she can't see. So I decided to help her.
And so began a friendship. Every day, Felicity and Esther navigate the sprawling campus together. As Felicity rides, Esther holds her shoulder, guiding her friend to their lecture halls.
Every time I have to help her out by sending her to the lecture halls and all that. It has been a very difficult task for us, but I still insist of helping her by riding her to the lecture halls.
The photography of the land is not favorable to us. There are gutters, holes, steps and stuff, and she's using her bike. So when we get to gutter, we have to, because she has to get down and help her. I'll help her with the bike, carry it to cross the gutter before we continue. When there are steps, she has to get that. It's stressful.
Their bond extends beyond the classroom. They study, cook, and share laughter during their leisure times.
I think that maybe coming in contact with them, they will actually be infected and other stuff. So I decided to be friends with her in order to give her a helping hand.
Their friendship is reciprocal.
When she's going to buy something, she'll be like, Esther, please. And I said, Felicity, how can I visually impaired be? I said, she said, no, I don't care. Let's move together. We move together. So anyway, so I really like, there is this friction between the two of us. Yeah. Sometimes I do say something, I'll be like, Felicity, why are you not mad at me? She said, no. Then I'll just apologize. Then we move on. Yeah, so I really love our friendship.
Their shared moments of joy and mutual support paint a beautiful picture of what friendship truly means.
I want to be a journalist because I've not seen people giving news like me. And for that matter, I would like to use the power of the microphone to advocate for persons living with disabilities.
I want the whole world to know of our friendship, a visually impaired and a person living with achondroplasia, being besties.
Despite the challenges, Felicity and Esther are determined to succeed in their academic pursuit and hope their friendship will inspire others, as well as highlight the need for better support for students with disabilities. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News.
My God will always lead me
to Pentecost.
Really?
On that beautiful note, let's engage Rafiq Salam, who joins us now via Zoom. Rafiq, thanks for joining us. Now, we now know that the Upper West Regional Minister, Ambassador Stephen Yakubu, has been saying that the road construction equipment and the drip is for community use and not for politicians. How did the people receive that information?
It's an old story, and the people are really not, they knew what this equipment is for them. It will help at least improve the road infrastructure. But, when the minister made that important statement, yes, it's good for them, but I think that we only want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because they think that whether they like it or yes, this thing will be used by politicians. These equipment are going to be at the woods and caprices of politicians. So the people are not really taking the minister serious on this statement.
You also brought us that story about the drought situation up north. How is that impacting the cost of livelihood over there?
It's really having a lot of negative impact on the people. If you go to the world market right now, prices of some commodities are up because of this imminent food shortage that people are having. A bag of maize, that's about 50 kilos, a month ago used to cost about 270, 280 Ghana cedis. But as I speak to you now, it's around 340 Ghana cedis. So too is also soya bean, which was being sold around 350 Ghana cedis. Now it's not being sold around 440 Ghana cedis. You go into the market itself, you are talking about a bowl of beans. It used to cost about 50 Ghana cedis. Now it's being sold around 70 Ghana cedis. So it's really having a negative impact on the people, and its impact is excruciating on the people.
And we know that the Ghana Meteorological Agency is optimistic that there might be rains up north soon. How is that information also being received by the people?
Sometimes they will tell you that it's better late than never, but some of the people have already, planted their seedlings or whatever, and they're expecting their plants to weather for now. But for now, they think that it's late. They are still predicting good rain for them, but they're thinking that because they did a planting earlier, it will not change the situation.
Rafiq Salam, thank you for joining us for the news. Now, away from that, rising deaths associated with non-communicable diseases is growing. It's a growing concern for health professionals in Ghana. The country currently has a 65% record of deaths associated with diabetes, stroke, heart cancer and kidney diseases, a rise from the 43% reported by the World Health Organization in 2022. A family physician has warned of escalating non-communicable diseases due to poor lifestyle, including alcohol abuse and smoking. There's more in this report.
Non-communicable diseases kill an estimated 86,000 persons in Ghana every year. The World Health Organization has labeled this surge as an emergency, warning the situation is exacerbated by insufficient investment in health infrastructure and a lack of conscious lifestyle. Family physician specialist Dr. Abraham Amponsa says many Ghanaians lack control to practice moderation, contributing to the increasing prevalence of lifestyle-related diseases.
We used to see a lot of these things in the advanced countries, but these days, in this part of the world, in developing countries, in low and middle income countries, we are seeing a lot of this non-communicable diseases. And hypertension and diabetes are key risk factors responsible for these non-communicable diseases, and they are on the rise, in this part of our world. In addition to that, we have what we call infectious diseases, malaria, HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and so on. And that's what we mean by having a double burden of disease. And these are smoking, alcohol misuse, inappropriate diet, and lack of exercise. So basically, of course, alcohol misuse, I believe many people don't know what it means to drink in moderation. And then our diets are also looking like the diets of the advanced countries. And these days we live a lot of sedentary lifestyle. So I think that is why we see a lot of this lifestyle diseases in this part of the world.
Dr. Abraham Amponsa was speaking at the inauguration of an MMA lab in Kumasi. He encouraged the public to prioritize healthy lifestyles.
The citizens must take their lives into their own hands. Okay? You cannot depend on the government or health. In addition, you do a medical checkup. Don't wait till you fall sick. Go to the hospital. You want to get your sugar checked, your blood pressure checked, your cholesterol checked. You want to know your weight, and then prostate screening for the early male, cervical cancer screening, breast cancer screening, and so on. So you can put in measures, personal measures to make sure that you prevent disease and to stay healthy.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Business stories right after this break. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Business on Joy News today. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. In a significant move to support sustainable farming practices, the Kokoaba Association has paid a total of 11.5 million in premium to support cocoa farmers across Ghana. This initiative forms part of the Rainforest Alliance certification program to motivate farmers to adhere to sustainable practices and improve their living conditions. There is more in the following report. The Kokoaba Association, a farmer-based organization, has dispersed 11.5 million Ghana cedis in premiums to 7,500 cocoa farmers across 5 regions in Ghana. This payment, known as the Sustainability Differential, is an additional mandatory cash earned by farmers for the 2023-2024 crop season. It aims to encourage adherence to sustainable farming practices under the Rainforest Alliance certification program. Ishmaela Pumase is the council chairman for CAA.
We are running Agri, certification program, and it's part of the requirement that certificate holders pay a minimum sustainability differential of $70 per ton to the farmer who delivered cocoa. So it is based on this requirement that Kokoaba, respecting this requirement, we are also paying this $70 per ton. And when you look at this year, what we are paying, actually we are paying a 65 Ghana cedis per bag, as compared to the 52 cedis, 50 pesos that we paid last year. In total, last year we paid over 9 million Ghana cedis. This year, looking at the cedi depreciation compared to the dollar, we've been able to pay over 11.5 million Ghana cedis as sustainability differential to our farmers. And you can see from the faces of the farmers, there are smiles all over.
Acting Executive Secretary and Chief Finance Manager for CAA, Patrick John Van Brakel, highlighted the key issues confronting farmers.
There were just less beans because of the black crop. And the other big issue is the lack of funding from Cocoa Board to fund the LBCs through the seed fund. And that resulting in that our dedicated Ghanaian LBCs did not have enough money to buy directly from my farmers. So, and then what happens is that big internationals jump in and they go buying, and my farmers, they can't wait, and they divert their beans to the internationals, and there goes our investments actually, because we don't get anything back from these beans anymore.
Some excited farmers of the association spoke to Joy Business.
Na cocoa no atimi aso na se omo boa yan omo de bonus na ba na bonus na yakese na se obi gina nche na se onyi cocoa ni bia onso ani abre na ode ne ho abehye cocoa fu anim asa ma de ye adwuma pa wo ba ye ho a wo ba hwe ma ye fu eda ho a wa wo bo nsema ma ye
dem fa ye cocoa no ko ye den galamsey de yen akuafo na yen wo abrabo pa na de ye de ye ni nye ho kura se de cocoa be ma galamsey fo nti aba no so emma woni so mra a company ya iwomu ya brabo pa company no o na nimra ho amfi say akuafo no so yesu ye ni beje.
We targeted 13,300 metric tons for the season, but unfortunately due to funding and then the climate change, we couldn't achieve our targets. So we ended up getting 10,500 metric tons exportable cocoa.
The 2024 regional derby held at Kokoaba Association in the Western South region brought together over 300 cocoa farmers. Now, moving on, stakeholders in the small and medium enterprises sector are calling for the formation of business groups and associations to champion the interests of women-led micro and small businesses in the African continental free trade area. According to them, SMEs stand a better chance of benefiting from the initiative through effective collaboration and partnerships. Tokuno Chiedu is the chief executive of Compass Global Business Service, and he spoke to Joy Business at an after-capacity building workshop for women-led businesses.
How do we ensure that small players do not lose out? The way to do it is to start thinking about coming together to engage on deals. So that is, in other words, that we form clusters. We begin to pull ourselves together and say, we are the cotton makers, we are the shea butter producers, we are the farmers of this vegetable, we are the textile people, and we can meet your demand as a coalition of players in that space. So we also realize that, when talking about deals, it's sometimes not that easy for small players to get to the place of the business opportunity to concluding it as a deal. Why? Because there are many constraints that small businesses face. And sometimes it's about overcoming the constraints by being part of a collective, which is why we're also encouraging associations and platforms that aggregate businesses to start looking at forming clusters so that the SMEs will not be left out and they can also take part in this process.
That'll be all for business here on Joy News Today. Up next is sports after this break.
Let's do sports now on GM Today. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, former Ghana Football Association's Communications Director, Sani Dara, has warned that local football clubs may struggle to survive without government support. In an upcoming interview on Prime Take, Sani warned state organizations to employ Ghanaian players, which could help address unemployment in the country.
When a footballer sees that there's no life beyond the football is playing, after 35 years, they don't earn so much because most of the teams, all the teams in Ghana today are owned by individuals. It is individuals that are funding, are paying for the kids of people, of Ghanaian youth, to become who they are. The state must support them. It must not be a one-man effort. Those days, when somebody is even playing in the domestic league, he's employed by the police, the army.
Yeah.
And Ali Jara, for instance, was employed by fire service.
Yeah.
So was Sam Johnson. A lot of them were employed by Bank of Ghana. All of these state agencies had some way, somehow, something to do with sports recruitment when they recruited every year.
There was Gapoha, there was New Plan Stars, there was Aquatex.
Exactly. So these are some of the things that we must go back to. Otherwise, we have no fighting chance.
But times have changed. Why would you say we should go back to that?
No, I say...
Because companies these days no longer want to be heavily involved.
No. I'm saying state institutions.
State institutions, yes. For instance, we had Gapoha, which was it? Was it what? There was also Gihawk.
Yes.
Many of these companies,
they folded.
There was Power Stars,
yes,
the electricity company of Ghana.
Yes.
All these people, they've now folded. They don't want to invest in the game.
They have to, because they are state institutions, one. And a lot of them also recruit for their own good. They have their own organizational games. They recruit sports people. Part of the sports people must be recruited, must be some footballers, must be some athletes, must be some boxers, so that the player knows that, one, I'll get some salary from, let's say, if I'm playing I work with the police. I'll get my salary from the police. Number one, I'll get some salary added on to maybe from Haas or Kotoko. Then finally, when I retire from football, I'll also have a full-time job to fall on and then have a pension. So I think that not only should government change its strategy, it must have a strategy for this. Otherwise, our domestic leagues will die and it will be on their heads.
And that's your sports on GM today with me, Haruna Mubarak.
Good afternoon, welcome to the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Samaya. Now to our first story. In a world where likes and shares reign supreme, content creators are the new celebrities and creative hubs are their new launchpads. The latest on the scene, NK Salem, a fresh new hub with a mission to give young Ghanaian talents the creative shot they deserve. We have more in this report.
Led by Prince Kelvin Eli Kweku, the NK Salem Creative Hub is determined to shake things up in the content creation world. With big names like Woody Maya, Kojo Sheldon, and DJ Slim already making waves, NK Salem is here to ensure the next generation of creatives don't miss out on the spotlight.
We are signing on content creators, musicians, any amazing talent that can be a contribution to the music industry or the showbiz industry. The Creative Hub targets or looks at bringing such amazing talents on board. So basically, it's just a space where you can do your podcast, your live recordings, your digital recordings, anything creative you want to do. It's a big space to just come. We do music distributions as well, so you can imagine.
At the heart of this movement is Isaac Kofi Entry, popularly known as Paradise, the first signee of the NK Salem Creative Hub. Known for his work as a content creator and music promoter, Paradise is no stranger to the industry. Speaking out on the state of content creation in Ghana, he shared his thoughts on the opportunities and challenges facing young creatives today.
It's elevating, you get it. It's moving to a point where now it's open and then people are joining. It's not limited to some particular people. At first, you had to be someone, you had to know someone before you can be somewhere. But then now on the internet, be very hard. So if you really put out content and then it really catches people, you get your fan base, you get.
On that note, is a wrap for the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Suma Yabwa. Over to you, Sweetie.
Jacqueline and Samaya, I love the report you did on Demure and how Gen Zs are turning things around.
I know, right?
But that's how we're wrapping up for Joy News today. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com to keep you updated. Over there, you find updates on stories like on election 2024, offline voting solves 70% of electoral interference issues. That is according to data privacy experts. So from Jacqueline and I right now, it's bye for now.